running back is quickly becoming a forgotten position early in fantasy football drafts this year, but the veterans know that having a premier ball carrier is essential to a successful team. That is why, at UTI, we have ranked our top 100 running backs in standard format for your 2016 fantasy football draft kit. Scroll down for top 100 after a few mock drafts. You will soon notice a trend early on, wide receivers flying off of the board. Don't be surprised if you find yourself in the back half of round 1, staring into the eyes of some of the NFL's best players. Yes, you should go into your draft with a strategy in mind, but be willing to be flexible. Don't pass up a proven player and miss your chance to buy low on a ball carrier who can't turn up yards and score touchdowns consistently. For clarity, here are some of the best running backs to look out for in 5 separate tiers, as well as some unheralded sleepers. Hall of Fame 1. Adrian Peterson. 2. Todd Gurley. Adrian All-Day Peterson eats 1,200-yard, double-digit touchdown seasons for breakfast. There might not be a safer pick, regardless of position, in your fantasy football draft. At age 30, Peterson rushed for 1,485 yards and 11 touchdowns in 2015. Minnesota made additions to its passing game this offseason, and Teddy Bridgewater is locked and loaded to improve on his line of 3,231 passing yards, 14 touchdowns, and 9 interceptions. But it is no secret who drives the NFC North champions. Peterson is the combination of consistency, explosion, and durability that you look for in a first-round selection. Todd Gurley absolutely erupted into the NFL last season. The 22-year-old scored 10 touchdowns and rushed for 1,106 yards in 13 games for the then Saints. Louis Rams. The Pro Bowl selection ranked number 3 in rushing yards last season. Bluntly put, the Rams don't have better options than Gurley in fantasy or in real life. If he can hold up for an entire season, Gurley should be the 2016 NFL rushing champion. All-Pro 3. Le'Veon Bell. 4. Ezekiel Elliott. 5. David Johnson. Bell brings unparalleled dynamic talent to the Pittsburgh Steelers and your fantasy team. Without a 3-game ban to start the season, many see him as the best running back in fantasy football. I would not recommend drafting Bell early in larger leagues, because it will hurt your team at the beginning of the season to not have a contributing first-round pick. In smaller leagues 8 to 12 teams, an early selection of Bell might not be so volatile because you have space to afford other skilled running backs. Elliott is a rare breed in fantasy football. The rookie steps into a fantastic offensive situation in Dallas behind a behemoth offensive line. While many forecast Elliott to step in and produce right away, you might want to slightly temper those exceptions. Overall, Elliott should have a stellar rookie season if he remains healthy, but don't expect him to immediately turn into 2014 DeMarco Murray. David Johnson enters 2016 with a similarly opportunistic situation, like Elliott. Johnson is part of one of the league's most explosive offenses and is surrounded by talent. The Arizona Cardinals could be fantasy football's best offense by the end of the season. The 24-year-old started just 5 games last season, but cemented himself as the starting running back for Bruce Arians' squad. Johnson rushed for 581 yards and a touchdown and had 457 receiving yards and 4 receiving touchdowns last season. He also scored on a 108-yard kick return. The only downfall for Johnson could be his crowded backfield. With Chris Johnson and Andre Ellington at his side, Johnson will need to be as dynamic as possible to give you a good return on his first-round draft price. Johnson was on pace to rush for 1,000 yards last season before going down late in the season to injury. Scroll down for top 100 Pro Bowl 6. Mark Ingram. 7. Eddie Lacy. 8. LeSean McCoy. 9. Thomas Rawls. 10. Devonta Freeman. 11. Jamal Charles. 12. Doug Martin. 13. Lamar Miller. Eddie Lacy is due. Lacy was one of the biggest busts in recent memory last season for fantasy football owners who drafted him in top 10. The 26-year-old was out of shape last season and it showed. After rushing for more than 1,100 yards and scoring double-digit touchdowns in consecutive seasons, Lacy tallied just 758 rushing yards and 3 rushing scores in 2015. With Jordy Nelson returning, look for the Green Bay Packers to return to its proper standing as an elite NFL offense. Lacy should reap the benefits of space created by the Packers' passing attack and be able to show off his slimmer frame this season. Seattle Seahawks coach Pete Carroll continues to say that Thomas Rawls will start the team's Week 1 matchup against the Miami Dolphins. Rawls showed enough last season in 7 starts to justify his draft spot this season. In 13 games, Rawls rushed for 830 yards and 4 touchdowns. Although he isn't literally beast mode, Rawls does offer the grip and versatility you want in a lead running back for your fantasy team. If his ankle can hold up, Rawls could end up being a steal at his current average draft position. Just napping early to mid-round sleepers. 14. Matt Forte, 15. Carlos Hyde, 16. Jonathan Stewart, 17. Jeremy Hill, 18. C.J. Anderson, 19. Jeremy Langford. This is the group of running backs to target if you go wide receiver with your early selections. Although they each carry risk of limited production, they also could carry the reward, which has made each of the high draft considerations in the past. Matt Forte is in a situation where he is trying to get healthy, while also fending off a loaded backfield. The New York Jets, however, could be even better this season. After finally signing Ryan Fitzpatrick, the Jets should be able to improve on its historic passing numbers last season. With Brandon Marshall and Eric Decker outside, Forte should have plenty of space to do what he does best, catch the football out of the backfield. Forte is expected to suit up for his first preseason game with the Jets on Saturday against the New York Giants. Jeremy Hill disappointed fantasy owners who spent high draft picks on him in 2015, but he is an integral part of one of the most explosive offenses in the league. Hill is a great guy to look at in the mid-rounds of your draft. Hill has 21 touchdowns in his first 2 seasons in the league. In 2014, Hill averaged 5.1 yards per attempt, en route to 1,124 yards and 9 rushing scores. Last season, he averaged 3.6 yards per carry, but scored 12 touchdowns. Hill is boom or bust, but should be leaned on more this season in Cincinnati, providing safety and consistency. Drifting off mid to late round sleepers. 21. DeMarco Murray, 24. Chris Ivory, 27. Giovanni Bernard, 28. Melvin Gordon, 29. Frank Gore, 30. Amir Abdullah, 32. Rashad Jennings, 33. Variant Foster ranked named teams by Week 1. Adrian Peterson, Minnesota Vikings 6. Todd Gurley, Los Angeles Rams 8. 3. Le'Veon Bell, Pittsburgh Steelers 8. 4. Ezekiel Elliott, Dallas Cowboys 7. 5. David Johnson, Arizona Cardinals 9. 6. Mark Ingram, New Orleans Saints 5. 7. Eddie Lacy, Green Bay Packers 4. 8. LeSean McCoy, Buffalo Bills 10. 9. Thomas Rawls, Seattle Seahawks 5. 10. Devonta Freeman, Atlanta Falcons 11. 11. Jamal Charles, Kansas City Chiefs 5. 12. Doug Martin, Tampa Bay Buccaneers 6. 13. Lamar Miller, Houston Texans 8. 14. Matt Forte, New York Jets 11. 15. Carlos Hyde, San Francisco 49ers 8. 16. Jonathan Stewart, Carolina Panthers 7. 17. Jeremy Hill, Cincinnati Bengals 9. 18. Seahawks Anderson, Denver Broncos 11. 19. Jeremy Langford, Chicago Bears 9. 20. Latavius Murray, Oakland Raiders 10. 21. DeMarco Murray, Tennessee Titans 13. 20. Tyrann Mathieu, Philadelphia Eagles 4. 23. Matt Jones, Washington Redskins 9. 24. Chris Ivory, Jacksonville Jaguars 5. 25. Duke Johnson Jr., Cleveland Browns 13. 26. Justin Forsett, Baltimore Ravens 8. 27. Giovanni Bernard, Cincinnati Bengals 9. 28. Melvin Gordon, San Diego Chargers 11. 29. Frank Gore, Indianapolis Colts 10. 38. Amir Abdullah, Detroit Lions 10. 31. Danny Woodhead, San Diego Chargers 11. 30. Rashad Jennings, New York Giants 8. 33. Variant Foster, Miami Dolphins 8. 34. D'Angelo Williams, Pittsburgh Steelers 8. 35. T. Howell Yeldon, Jacksonville Jaguars 5. 36. J.J. Miami Dolphins 8. 37. Leverett Bound, New England Patriots 9. 38. Theo Riddick, Detroit Lions 10. 39. Kevin Coleman, Atlanta Falcons 11. 40. Kenneth Dixon, Baltimore Ravens 8. 41. Charles Sims, Tampa Bay Buccaneers 6. 42. Charcandrick West, Kansas City Chiefs 5. 43. C. Howells, Pro-Size Seattle Seahawks 5. 44. Isaiah Crowell, Cleveland Browns 13. 45. Bilal Powell, New York Jets 11. 46. Devontae Booker, Denver Broncos 11. 47. James Starks, Green Bay Packers, 448 Darren Sproles, Philadelphia Eagles, 449 Derrick Henry, Tennessee Titans, 1350 James White, New England Patriots, 951 Jerick McKinnon, Minnesota Vikings, 652 Shane Vereen, New York Giants, 853 Spencer Ware, Kansas City Chiefs, 554 Jauvery Hughes, Talent, Baltimore Ravens, 855 Dean Grid, Washington Oakland Raiders, 1056 Chris Johnson, Arizona Cardinals, 957 Terrence West, Baltimore Ravens, 858 Reggie Bush, Buffalo Bills, 1059 Darren McFadden, Dallas Cowboys, 760 Ryan Lewis, New England Patriots, 961 Christine Michael, Seattle Seahawks, 562 Wendell Smallwood, Philadelphia Eagles, 463 Tim Hightower, New Orleans Saints, 564 Alfred Morris, Dallas Cowboys, 765 Jordan Howard, Chicago Bears, 966 Sean Draffen, San Francisco 49ers, 867 Josh Ferguson, Indianapolis Colts, 1068 Paul Perkins, New York Giants, 869 Kerrion Gray, Miami Dolphins, 870 Kadeem Carey, Chicago Bears, 971 Andrew Ellington, Arizona Cardinals, 972 Keith Marshall, Washington Redskins, 973 Bobby Whitaker, Carolina Panthers, 774 C. Howell Spiller, New Orleans Saints, 575 Alex Collins, Seattle Seahawks, 576 Chris Thompson, Washington Redskins, 977 Andrew Williams, New York Giants, 878 Cameron Artis Paint, Carolina Panthers, 779 Malcolm Brown, Los Angeles Rams, 880 Mike Davis, San Francisco 49ers, 881 Ronnie Hillman, Denver Broncos, 1182 Tyler Irvin, Houston Texans, 983 Alfred Blue, Houston Texans, 984 Robert Turbin, Indianapolis Colts, 1085 Brandon Oliver, San Diego Chargers, 1186 Curry Robinson, New York Jets, 1187 Mike Tolbert, Carolina Panthers, 788 David Cobb, Tennessee Titans, 1389 Mike Gillislee, Buffalo Bills, 1090 Zach Zellner, Detroit Lions, 1091 Denard Robinson, Jacksonville Jaguars, 1092 Dexter McCluster, Tennessee Titans, 1393 Dwayne Washington, Detroit Lions, 1094 Jonathan Williams, Buffalo Bills, 1095 Darrell Richardson, Pittsburgh Steelers, 896 Fitzgerald Toussaint, Pittsburgh Steelers, 897 Bishop Sankey, Tennessee Titans, 1398 Robert Carey, Washington Redskins, 999 Antonio Andrews, Tennessee Titans, 13100 Benny Cunningham, Los Angeles Rams, 13